ESL Pro League is brought to you in part by Logitech G, Pay Safeguard, Mountain Dew League, and ESEA.
Good evening and welcome to the ESL Pro League North America. It's match day number 18, our final match day for this week, but definitely set to be a good one. I'm Jordan Mays. Joining me, Kevin Zhu, as always. Maybe not always, but most of the time. We have a good time here.
Not this week, actually. It's the
not
first
this
time
week,
together,
yeah.
actually.
We've had a lot of Tim, but now we've got Kevin back. It's
yeah,
good.
so we've had to outsource his job, and I've taken it. So
it's a bit racist, but anyway.
No, it isn't.
All right, let's just move on. Let's move on quickly before this gets too deep. OpTic and Misfits is our first match for tonight. That's going to be definitely a very, very good one because what we saw from OpTic yesterday or the day before was that they had some troubles up against Cloud9. You know, they haven't exactly had the greatest of runs this week. And Misfits have, you know, they've still been doing relatively okay. So I definitely think this one could be maybe closer than a lot of people might expect. For our second match tonight, Cloud9 and CLG, another good one, another top sort of, well, a top team up against sort of a middle of the pack team over on the mainstream, SK and Renegades. Tough one there for Renegades. They've been on a, 8-map win streak now in the Pro League, and I don't know if that's going to continue tonight. They've got a big opponent against them. NRG and Luminosity coming up after that on the mainstream. So really, across the board tonight, I think everything, all these matches are looking really, really good and are going to be very important ones for all the teams playing.
I was saying yesterday, it was an absolute blockbuster of a day, and especially coming towards the final parts of the season, you know, we passed the halfway point. This is where every single match counts. So, sure, Misfits and OpTic Gaming, it's going to be quite close, but both of these teams want to pick up the victories. They're not sitting towards the top 6 positions as comfortably as they'd like to be. I think OpTic sitting even below. And Misfits sitting a little bit below as well. So they're looking to try to get the 2-0 tonight. They want the points.
Yeah, exactly. Both the teams need the 2-0 tonight because we would have expected probably OpTic to be at least OpTic should be definitely higher than the 7th position right now. Well, that's what we would have put them at. Obviously, they've had some roster changes. They've had some issues going on in the team like that. But even then, I mean, you'd want to be seeing them up a little bit higher than in 7th position. Misfits in 10th. Look, to be fair, that to me is maybe a decent indication of where they're at. I maybe would have expected them to be sitting a little bit higher than at 7-7. But again, like, we're not seeing the whole season so far. Maybe that's going to change as we head into the late stages of this season. But definitely for tonight, both of these teams are going to be looking for, at the very least, a 1 apiece. But a 2-0 for both teams is obviously what they're going to be gunning for. And I think both of these teams will have a feeling like they can 2-0.
Well, Misfits, we see that they go from really, really amazing play towards, okay, only Twist is kind of showing up and the rest of them have gone missing. So for Misfits, it's been majorly, okay, where are the core 3?
Yeah.
Twist always has a good performance. You always see, you know, in Cobblestone, Twist, he'll go 30 kills, and the rest of the team, it's, hey, where have they kind of gone? And then if Sean is the leading fragger for Misfits, then there's serious issues. I'm not saying Sean can't frag, but you're looking towards the core 3 to step up. You're looking for Shazam with the AWP to get the kills, not for Sean as the IGL to be leading the charge and taking all the kills.
Yeah, and definitely OpTic are going to, or Misfits, sorry, are going to need those core 3 to be stepping up if they do want to make their way through to finals. OpTic as well, really looking forward to, or at least attempting to make their way through to the finals right now. If you want to go over to the finals, head over to proleague.com/Dallas, grab some tickets, grab some information, all that fun stuff. It's June 3rd and 4th, so not too far away now. Getting in there, I mean, it's still a couple of months, but definitely we're getting towards the pointy end of things here, at least in the NA Pro League.
Absolutely. Still 12 match days in total left, so
more than halfway through.
Yeah, there's still plenty of time to, I think, settle between probably the 3rd to 6th positions for Pro League. That's the points where I'd argue on. The top 2, I'd say easily towards SK as well as Cloud9 for now.
Yep.
But later on tonight, let's take a look how CLG go. During, I'd say the earlier part of the season, a lot of people said CLG were struggling to get the engine going. And now just with the pickup of Ricky, it just seems like something has clicked. The lineup just seems to have better synergy. They're picking up victories left, right, and center and looking a lot better.
I'm really
Cloud9 is a real challenge.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that, look, you know, you say Ricky coming into that roster, it has worked out very, very well for CLG, but are they going to be able to stand up to the powerhouse that is Cloud9 at the moment? Because Cloud9 really have looked almost unstoppable so far this season. Once again, very similar to last season. The only times where they really were looking a bit shaky was obviously when Skadoodle was not playing in that team and they dropped 2-0 to Misfits. Now he's back. Going up against CLG, who they've historically had fairly decent results against, I'm thinking that this is going to be a tough ask for CLG, but maybe their current form is going to be enough to prove strong enough to deal with Cloud9, though we'll have to find out later on tonight. For now, OpTic Gaming and Misfits, and having a look at both the rosters. Nothing too crazy out there. We have seen Jason R already playing on OpTic a little bit, and to be honest, it's not been amazing, but it hasn't been terrible either for OpTic. I don't think that it's, you know, anything to be worried about at this point. And the interesting thing really for me is that he's apparently in-game leading for this roster, even though he's the sub.
Well, let's see how it goes. He has been playing around for different teams for the NA or different NA teams for quite a while, so he should be able to bring his own unique flair into the team and hopefully able to corral a better unified attempt from OpTic, because the stats are there.
Yeah,
for
definitely.
a team that's sitting near the same position as Misfits, statistically, it seems like they're better. You know, Rush has been performing probably outright the best in the season. He's been sitting, I believe, at about 1.25 rating, something quite high up. And Mixwell with the AWP has also been doing quite well, but it's up to Naf and Tarek to start chiming in. On the side of Misfits, though, it's really Twist and Shazam in putting in the majority of the work, and Sick and Relics, when they do come alive, that's a scary Misfits, but that's a big if.
Exactly. And Shazam, you know, he tends to be fairly consistent with that AWP. I think that's going to be an interesting sort of a matchup here against Mixwell, because for me, Mixwell, he's generally been fairly consistent as well. But last week or last match day where we saw OpTic Gaming play against Cloud9, Mixwell did kind of go missing against those guys. So it obviously wasn't a great situation really for OpTic at that point, but now up against Misfits, if both these AWPers are firing, it should be a pretty good matchup, and obviously we need to see them being backed up pretty nicely as well by the rest of their teammates. Like Tarek, he had a pretty decent performance against Cloud9, but you know, he was kind of hot and cold on the second map. He played well on the first, didn't really seem to be there on the second map, but regardless, we need to see this OpTic Gaming lineup step up, because they want to be moving themselves a lot higher than 7th position. And, you know, to be able to take matches against, for example, SK, who they beat 16-14 on Train this week, and then to be losing matches against Cloud9 so convincingly, you have to think, where's the consistency coming from?
Well, they're going to have to step it up. This for OpTic, it just feels like it is a game of inconsistency. Earlier on the season, we saw them at 4th and going, oh, you know, OpTic are doing pretty well, looking to challenge for the title of one of the best teams at NA, and now have slightly let the ball drop after Hiko left. You know, they picked up Jason R. Looking towards Cobble stats, though, as well, they've only OpTic have only played Cobble once.
Yep.
And, well, we know Misfits
Twice,
like playing
actually.
Cobble a lot. Twice, okay.
Yep.
So
they've won once and lost once.
yeah, whereas Misfits have played Cobble a lot more. Picking up a couple of victories, also dropping some as well. I think they did lose against Luminosity, which was one of the close ones.
It's a map that has been sort of backwards and forwards for both the teams. Like, it's not been their best map, it's not been their most picked map, and it's not been their worst map. So they've both got wins, they've both got losses. I think across the board, both of them, you know, they're able to basically wipe away with the weaker teams on Cobblestone, but when they go up against some of the better teams, for example, like SK or anything like that, Cloud9, that's when they start to have trouble on this map. So for the two teams to be fairly evenly matched in my eyes, just on paper, and to be going up against each other on Cobblestone should be a pretty decent matchup, because I think they'll be fairly close.
Still hard to tell. Realistically, I'd say OpTic should have the advantage.
Yeah,
they
probably
really should, but it's just all dependent on so many factors, and I just don't like analyzing CS when it goes, all right, it depends when a player turns up. It feels so disingenuous. It's just kind of like, well,
It's
we're
the
gonna
easy way out,
play on
isn't
the
it?
safe side and just go, look, this player, if he shows up, they'll win. If they don't, well, they'll probably won't do as well.
Yeah,
But that's the truth, unfortunately, for both of these lineups. It's just Misfits, we see on the good days, they're so good. It's just like, whoa, these guys potentially be top of the pack, maybe challenge for a top title in NA. And then some other days, they just go, you just go, where are these guys gone? It's just one of the people, there's only one person that feels like they're contributing in the server. The rest of them have kind of gone on a vacation walkabout. So it's really, that's all I can say in terms of for Misfits mainly.
Yeah, well, it's a big question mark for Misfits right now, isn't it? Because we do want to see them coming out here and being consistent. But OpTic is going to be one of the more difficult teams that they have faced so far this season. I mean, they've got wins over Rush, they've got wins over Selfless, and obviously we kind of probably expect that. They've also gone one apiece with CLG, but The other win that they've managed to get was over Cloud9. Now, I'm not going to read into that too much because Skadoodle wasn't playing in that game. And you have to think maybe if Skadoodle was in that one, Cloud9 would have had a bit of a better shot at it. But Misfits, when they've gone up against some of the other top-tier teams in the region, for example, Liquid, for example, SK, they have really struggled and they haven't been able to pick up any wins there. So does OpTic fall into the side of the Liquid and the SK where they should be able to run over Misfits here? Or do they fall into the side of, for example, Rush, Selfless, and they should, have some trouble here against Misfits? I definitely think that at the moment, I'm leaning over towards OpTic for tonight. Although I wouldn't be hugely surprised to see a 1-1 coming out.
Absolutely. Wouldn't be surprised as well for a 1-1. It would really be up towards a team to really fire up to take the 2-0, and for probably the other team to kind of misstep. I can't tell which team's going to win at this stage. It's too hard to tell.
Yeah, well, look, when we kind of think about the maps here, we've sort of already spoken a bit about Cobblestone. Mirage going to be the second map tonight, and I think that may be actually a fairly decent chance here for Misfits because we haven't seen too much of Mirage from OpTic so far this season. In fact, they haven't actually played it at all in the Pro League, and Misfits, that's kind of been their go-to map.
Well, Mirage is really a map where I would still argue OpTic would probably be comfortable playing on Mirage. So they banned the map they definitely don't want to be playing on, and so if Mirage was Misfits' pick, then they should be decently comfortable at the very least. Misfits should put up a good fight. If OpTic picked it, then it may go in towards the realm of the unknown. So OpTic picking a map, maybe that's Jason R's influence going, hey, I like Mirage. All right, let's see what you guys got. Hey, you guys have got some pretty good abilities. I know exactly how to use you. And that sometimes is what you need. A person coming in, having a new opinion, a new way of looking at the map and going, all right, we'll try and fit your skill set in towards these particular positions, and it may work out. May not work out, but that's what I believe. A fresh set of eyes is always good.
So if I had to ask you, 2-0, 1-1, where are you going for this one tonight?
I'll probably say 2-0 towards the team that shows up.
Okay.
Which is probably a very safe and very ambiguous guess, but I can't really favor any team. If they had some good momentum coming in towards this match, I could try to favor someone. But Misfits, they've been dropping matches where I feel like they should be taking them. At the same time, OpTic, they pick up wins against teams like SK Gaming, handing SK Gaming their first map loss in the Pro League, and then they drop games against other teams where they shouldn't be dropping games again. So well, it's so inconsistent.
I'm on the same sort of a train of thought as you. I think it is going to be fairly close. Hard to say who's coming out of this one, but in my opinion, that means that I have to basically say I think it's going to be a 1-1. I'm going to go with OpTic here on Cobblestone. I think Misfits are going to have it on Mirage though, so we'll have to find out. We are going to be going live very, very shortly, but for me, it's a 1-1 tonight. Admittedly, if either of these teams do show up, if maybe one of the teams doesn't have a good night, then yes, definitely it can be a 2-0 because of how closely matched on paper these two teams are. But OpTic, I feel at the moment, are sort of punching below their weight. They would be wanting to be a little bit higher. So if we were to see a 2-0, I'd be leaning over towards OpTic.
I'm still not going to commit. It's...
That's
cheating. I know that's cheating, but I could be doing something like Tim and just go, it's going to be a 1-1 apiece. Very safe, but I'd say 2-0 towards the team that will pick up the T side on Cobblestone.
Wow.
If a team does well on the T side, they can convert that on towards Mirage, which has always been the critical factor.
Okay.
That said, if they do drop the ball on their own defensive side, then that's once again going to open up another essay, and no one's going to want to read that.
All right, well, let's go ahead and find out. OpTic starting off on the T side here. And they've gone for basically a standard buy, just getting that one utility player, Misfits as well. Fairly standard across the board here. 2 over towards A, though, as opposed to 4B, which is sometimes something that we do occasionally see. And OpTic have put their main forces in the direction of the B-bomb site. So perhaps Misfits are going to be in a bit of trouble here if OpTic do get a couple of these frags on the entry.
OpTic threatening to come through Spiral towards the A side, but in reality, it is going to be a push on towards the B side. Sick. Well, it's actually Twist, Relic, and Sick both picking up kills apiece. That is a very fast shutdown on towards the B side. Headshot after headshot after headshot.
Yep, no problems there at all for OpTic. And... oh, sorry, no problems at all for Misfits. Big problems for OpTic. They didn't even get a single kill. But look, it is only the pistol round, so you can't draw too many conclusions from it. We are going to see OpTic buy straight into this round. Tech-9s and armor. Jason are just taking a P250, a little bit of extra utility there as well. So maybe they do have something in mind here with that smoke and the flashbang. We'll have to see what they do decide to do with that, what eventuates from it. But Misfits, they've gone for 3 rifles. They're very, very prepared for this armor setup.
Yeah, Sean is going to back off. He hears the long A push and doesn't want to contest with the Tech-9s at close range with the FAMAS. Decides to sprint back towards the A site where he can play in unison with his teammates. OpTic, though, they have to use utility to make their way towards the A position. And with no smoke to cover their advance, it means that they can get mowed down on the cross.
Still not too much time gone here just yet for OpTic. They are probing over towards the B site a little bit. Naf is headed in that direction, but he's rotating back over to his teammates now. So it does look like we are going to be seeing a bit of an A hit. Really, the only utility that we do have left here for OpTic, as you mentioned, is that flashbang. So the way that Misfits are playing this, sitting so far back in the sites, is going to make life a little bit difficult for OpTic, because OpTic isn't going to be able to get into a position here really too easily to be able to get those one-shot headshots coming out from the Tech-9s. But hey, there you go. Naf takes down Shazam, and Jason R finds Twists. Okay, there we go. So maybe I lied. OpTic
Tech-9s
completely just rushing over this site.
Tech-9, Rec-9s, Misfits. With the FAMASes, that's really the weakness, where you you'd think with an M4, with a little bit faster fire rate, with a little bit more firepower, they'd be able to take the victory. But Relics, well, he's tagged down low, so he gets the kill on towards Naf. He's going to fall back and try to save his life. But OpTic can take away all the FAMASes, as well as the M4 in the hands of Mixwell, with their armor.
Yeah.
Big round from OpTic.
This is basically perfect for OpTic. Obviously, they would have liked to have had Naf still alive here, take the UMP as well through to the next round. But I mean, they've done enough here. They've done more than enough, really, to be able to pick the round up. That's big. They reset the economy of Misfit. They take all the guns. Their own economy will start to build off this. And it's almost as if they won the pistol round. So really, really good stuff from OpTic just to come back into that one straight away. First round on the T side for them. And it's looking good.
This feels like if there were a couple more M4s, if UMPs were available to be used at close range, could have been a different story. But Misfits, I think, granting too much respect towards OpTic, and OpTic just taking that and just running a mile.
Yeah, clearly. They've decided to invest into an AK there as well. Looks like I do see some pistols coming out on the CTs. Not sure yet if they've got armor. Yes, they do. So they've decided to force into this round and try and bring it back straight away. But typically when we do see this coming out, I feel as though it's maybe a little bit more successful on the T side for that force buy with the pistols and armor as opposed to the CT side.
Well, Misfits, they had to go in the double eco regardless. Yep. So they decide, all right, let's force up behind the UMP of Relics, and if we can take a round, awesome. If we can't, that's all right. We'll just go eco for the next one. We should still be able to force up. Maybe not the AWP and Shazam, but they can still rely on that dependable fire rifle setup. Otherwise, OpTic just looking to carry as many guns possible towards the next round. Maybe even get the bomb plant down. Misfits stacking closer towards the B site. Sean may want to get a little bit more aggressive towards mid.
Yeah, he's got a lot of information right now for Misfits, but if he continues to push here, he will have to deal with Naf, and it's not going to be a very, very fun sight because at the moment Sean does not have any armor. So I don't think it's going to be too wise for him to be pushing out into the sight lines of a FAMAS. In saying that, though, OpTic are more interested in the B bomb site right now. Tarek just having a look down into plat. Hasn't spotted too much out. There's a Molotov out. It's not going to affect any of the Misfits players.
And OpTic will commence their B site. Sorry, I'll cut you off for a bit.
Alright, Jason R makes his way into the site. Tarek getting the entry frag as well. Misfits, well, they've basically just fallen apart on this B-bomb site, which is like pretty much what you would understand, right? Because they do just have the pistol, they do just have the armor. There's not much to go up against these rifles or OpTic. And a fairly easy round coming out from them.
Just looking to get exits as well as he can for OpTic. So maybe Jason R would push with the UMP, but he's already so low. I think he was dinked in the back of the head by one of his teammates. So he may just want to save the UMP. So the rest of OpTic, though, are slowly starting to hunt. Mixwell now coming towards the vent room, but Twist at close range. Oh, he looks away just at the wrong time, and Mixwell is spotted at Mixwell, and will be able to take the M4 off his hands, but all of OpTic just waiting around the corner. They know he wants the gun, and OpTic just dancing around.
Oh, they take the FAMAS back anyway. OpTic should be able to take down Twist here, although it looks like they're just going to keep him locked up in what is essentially his prison right now. I mean, it doesn't really matter. He does have a bit of head armor, though, so maybe if Misfits can drop a gun from OpTic, get it into the hands of Twists, he can make use of that. At this point, though, it's fairly wishful thinking, one would imagine.
I really love that play, though, coming out from OpTic, where they lose one player in Mixwell, and they go, all right, let's not go hunting. Let's not lose any more guns that we don't need to. Let's try to get Twist to play aggressive, come towards us. If he comes towards us, all right, we'll kill him. But this way, he cannot get a gun. And that was their objective. OpTic do gamble correctly on the site. They decide to go towards B, where there is no CTs, and this should be another very quick round in the favor towards the Ts.
Yeah, Tarek very, very quickly out onto plat and getting a lot of information very early on in the piece. So OpTic quite quickly onto the B bomb site. They know that it's free. Misfits, unfortunately for them, are going to be hoping to maybe at least get a gun out of this round, but aside from that, there's not much in it for them.
Well, Naf is going to be challenged by potentially multiple members of Misfits. There's one down. He's going to challenge Relics as well. Relics does manage to get the dink forward, so Naf should fall unless he pulls out something amazing. The Desert Eagle won't be able to. And Twists will eventually fall.
It was only a FAMAS, so they would have been wanting to upgrade that probably in this round anyway. Obviously, if they had have saved it, they probably would have kept it, but it's not too big of a deal. Here comes the AWP as well. So, look, that's not too bad actually overall for OpTic. They start off 3-1. They've gotten their economy rolling quite nicely, and they've really answered quite well to the question that that Misfits asked them in that pistol round.
Still early days though. Misfits now with their first buy. Twists, unable to afford an M4, decides to go for more utility. Has to purchase a UMP. Still, the result of the match can swing either way. OpTic so far, strong start after taking the eco round, or the force buy. But now Misfits, they have to counter on their own. Let's see if their members can stand up and start pushing back against OpTic. They'll have to, eventually, if they want to take the map victory.
Yeah.
This one, it's a lot harder for Misfits to take. They lack utility.
Definitely.
They have to rely on firepower and aim, which OpTic so far have shown themselves to be decent.
Yep, probably even a bit better than Misfits at this point. You know, being able to run over them with the Tech 9s. And they've been fairly secure in these anti-ecos as well. Like, they haven't lost any more than one gun. So, OpTic are really looking quite good at the moment to start off Cobblestone. And if they can get this gun round, really start to put the pressure on Misfits on this T side, it is, of course, going to eventuate into a pretty good situation. But OpTic playing fairly slowly on their T side at the moment. They're not doing anything too risky too quickly. They have decided that they may be interested in the drop room by the looks of things. Just getting a bunch of utilities down there, trying to clear it out before they make their way in. The flashbang comes out as well as they drop down.
To me, it's so odd to actually let Mixwell lead the charge for the AWP. That's not something you see every day, and that's going to be rewarded with a kill on towards a B plat player. But OpTic heading back towards the A site, Jason R, is going to be challenged by Sean. And Misfits, they can't cross mid very easily because OpTic have locked it down through drop and rush. We'll be able to get the headshot on towards Twist as a smoke phase. Jason R, IGL and IGL, but Sean will take the victory, and the bomb's been lost. But OpTic do have the numbers on the A site. Now it's up to Sick to rotate the long way round.
It looks like the bomb is just going to go down in time, but it was a close thing actually for OpTic at that point. Misfits though, their hopes relying on Sick here. 1 versus 3. He's going to be rushed by Mixwell. Oh, I thought the knife was going to come out. Not quite though. Not in time. That would have been cool though.
Well, there is clutch potential, but the Sick decides with the AWP, saving it is going to be more beneficial for Misfits' economy than it is losing and attempting a 1 and 2 push where his position has been identified. So he's going to back off. OpTic playing safe will eventually start exiting and realizing, or will realize that Misfits will take the AWP to the next round. But a bit of a misplay coming out from Mixwell, not realizing that long air was a little bit dirty, and well, he does get punished.
Clearly, yeah.
But OpTic take the round.
Yeah, but it's an AWP in the hands of Misfits, so they may be able to do something with that next round. They probably won't be able to afford a buy. They could get some pistols behind it, but we'll see what they do decide to do. OpTic Gaming looking much, much more wealthy right now. Just deciding whether or not they want to take the AWP again on Mixwell, or if they want to take another AK here by the looks of things. But it's going to be the AWP, and I think that's a decent decision, given the fact that there is an AWP on the other side for Misfits. Possibly he can win the duel against Sick, or what we saw from last round from OpTic is that they just managed to get the entries with the AWP. So can't really be too bothered by that pickup from OpTic.
It's just so... because normally when you think about how drop room is executed upon, well, just take a look towards how SK do it, for example. They get 2 AK players, some of the most dominant AK players, get Cold Zero into a position where he can do damage.
Yep.
And then he'll just work drop room as well as electrical room and just blow open the B side or A side depending on how he moves around. And shot from Mixwell means the AWP's lost for Misfits.
Yeah, look, Sick, he was pushing there, and you can understand that. He's the only gun really for Misfits. He needs to be making the plays, and can't really fault him for going down there. He had to try and make something happen, but Mixwell really answering that one properly and taking down the gun. Misfits, they get that smoke across. Looks like they want to try and retrieve the AWP. OpTic Gaming very, very aware of that, though. The Molotov coming out, Mixwell getting that grenade in as well. So really, really good stuff actually here from OpTic. They're just not allowing any kind of an advantage to go to Misfits without answering it.
Smart play, but Tarek has been tagged down quite low. Naf is going to be leading the charge though. They know Shazam is on the side, and Jason R goes, nope, you won't be able to get out alive. This is good Molotov use coming out from OpTic. Using Molotovs to make sure that Misfits cannot come into these territories where the pistols could have a dominant position over the rifles. And as soon as I say that, Jason R decides to push it and loses his life.
Yeah, which is not great, but admittedly, it is just one death here on the anti-eco for OpTic.
But this is important for Misfits.
But exactly.
If they can take these 2 guns forward, it would mean not only a difference in terms of economy, but they could afford more utility and start turning it around. So first buy round is always a little bit more forgivable. You can kind of go, look, Misfits don't have as much utility to work with, and Nav should fall prey towards Twist, who's been boosted up, and Mixwell just locking down the line. Misfits don't want to contest any further. Neither do OpTic, though.
No, neither of these teams particularly interested in fighting each other. They just want to take those guns through. I honestly, I was going to say that looked like a really, really nicely played anti-eco actually from OpTic, but then they do lose 2 guns, so they maybe did let it slip just a little bit towards the end of things, and they have allowed those 2 guns to go through for Misfits, which of course is going to be extremely helpful in this round and potentially in the further rounds, depending on how that economic situation starts to play out for Misfits. So, yeah, I would have just liked to have seen OpTic really just capitalize on that and not allow any guns really to go over to Misfits. Maybe just allow that AWP through, but apart from that, oh well, look, it's not too big of a deal. They get the round on the board. Now they just have to keep on fighting. Going up against the gun round here. 5-1 though to start off with for OpTic. It's really, really good.
Yeah, it was just a little bit of information spotted towards mid for this round for Misfits. They decided to go aggressive with the AWP on Shazam, but no opportunity has been granted by OpTic. Tarek very smart to draw out the fire before making sure the line is clear. And now there's slow progression towards long A. OpTic just trying to take control of the map before seizing control. And Shazam completely blinded. What a flashbang.
Nice flashbang for OpTic, as you say, and it allows them to actually get a little bit more map control here out towards long, but the smoke still keeping them at bay, and Sean, nice spam through the smoke, does take down Jason R. Early advantage for Misfits is not something that we've seen so much from them so far on their CT side. Immediately responded, though, by Tarek. Then there comes the trade back from Shazam. So overall, the machine working quite nicely here for Misfits in this round. They just need to make sure now that they trade out effectively and play their numbers.
Well, Mixwell, he wants to make a hero play towards B-Plat, but he's going to wait for the rest of his members to come towards drop and maybe B-Plat with him. But good usage of utility coming in from Misfits to deny further positioning. It just allows Sick to rotate across with Relics and allow the members of Misfits to rotate back towards the B site. 30 seconds left. OpTic are going to make a move.
Mixwell just having a peek into the B site. He needs to make something happen here. He really needs to get an entry because, well, it's going to be so helpful for OpTic at this point. Sick under pressure from those riflers coming in from drop room. Mixwell completely smoked off, and that's going to give up a couple of free kills there to Misfits. Twist and Sick finding one apiece. Mixwell, not much that he can do here with only 10 seconds. Has to back out and try and save the AWP. Looks like he'll be able to do that. No one from Misfits hunting him, but Misfits do secure finally their first gun round of Cobblestone.
And really just on the back of, you can see when they have more utility, they can buy more time, start making the rotations work in their favor. And on the back of, I guess, Sean getting the first pick and a solid A site hold as well. As soon as you're able to hold on to the A site, it does make OpTic's job much harder to try to gain map control because you cannot rotate the CTs as easily across. And then all of a sudden we saw Misfits, even if they rotated one towards A site, all they simply do is drop a Molotov or incendiary grenade on towards B platform. Okay, T's can't push here. Make sure A site's clear before we start floating back.
All right, some defensive utilities being thrown out by Misfits in this round, and it's pretty much been one of the first rounds that they've actually had defensive utilities, so it must be a good feeling for them on the CT side here. Just to have that little bit of extra cash to now try and contest with OpTic. Mixwell, though, peeking over the smoke. He's not spotted much out just yet, but if someone does peek into his sightline, you have to think that they're not going to have too good of a time. Still, though, it's not been too badly played so far from Misfits. Starting off nicely, haven't lost too much. But they are using a lot of utilities right now, and that's the gain for OpTic. That's where they're starting to get the advantage in this round. Look at how many utilities OpTic has right now and how many Misfits have right now. Is that OpTic, if they do decide they want to push into one of these sites, or if they want to push into a drop room, they've got so many utilities to use, and there's not much in the way of counter utilities right now for Misfits.
The only good thing for on the side of OpTic is that they have given up B-plat control to try to take drop room control. So Misfits know this. They're stacking more members towards B platform. Sick dancing around. I really love how OpTic decided to put the AWP towards drop room though, because this is a position where it can be so potent. And he has spotted out Sick, who's now trying to hide, but what a flick from Mixwell. It just seems like he's able to get these entry kills.
You're not even going to
flick on sick?
No, a sick flick.
A sick flick. I'll pay it.
Yeah.
Just for today is 25 seconds. Left in the round for OpTic.
Yeah. 20 seconds now, and they've really got to get a bit of a wriggle on here. Relics, they do check that corner. That would be dangerous if they hadn't, but the bomb getting dropped. Maybe that's going to be enough time here for Misfits to deny the bomb plant, though it doesn't seem as though that will be the case. Shazam does drop Jason R, but the bomb will go down now for OpTic, and it's a 2 versus 2 retake situation for Misfits with no utilities.
Yeah, they do use the smoke to make sure they can get back on the cross. Back towards safety, but Shazam now coming across the wide way, but Shazam misses the shot. Mixwell does not miss his on towards Sean. And while Shazam just dancing around, cannot train his AWP on 2 angles. And OpTic will drop Misfits onto an eco.
Immediately the perfect response from OpTic. Straight away getting that round back. Misfits, as you said, on the eco now. And OpTic really starting to put them under a lot of pressure. 6 on the T side already. It's a good start, and they're going to want to close it out strong as well. They should get around here. Well, they're not on the eco. They're forced into it. I thought there was way less money for Misfits.
They could have forced up, but it just feels a little bit off. I would prefer they would have gone for the single eco. They had 3k and Sick, which is their poorest player, who can still force up a UMP.
Yeah.
It's a serviceable weapon, but we saw Misfits are able to take the rounds on the back of utility as well as the AWP play. So they've got the AWP in the hands of Twist this time, who is looking to create an opportunity towards B side. It's still early days to say that it's a sure round for OpTic.
Yeah.
But the trend has been, okay, OpTic just play the map slowly, use their utility wisely, gain map control, and then seize the bomb site. It's always towards the final 20 seconds, so if Misfits can hold on and get the first pick before then, they have a chance.
Yeah, Sean with the Mag 7 over to A long. Honestly, I prefer it in drop and by Broken Wall, but look, if that's where he wants to play with it, we'll see what he can do. At this point, not going to be challenged, and Tarek just getting an easy entry frag onto Relics. Does get traded out by Sick, but now Twist will be forced out of his position by the Molotov, watching the drop angle. Does get taken down by Rush. There's a kill as well coming out from Jason R, and this is looking too easy at the moment for OpTic. Shazam posing a bit of a question to them, though. He takes down 2 before being dropped himself, and it's just poor old Sean now with the Mag 7. What's he going to be able to do here on the retake? You'd have to think not a lot, unless he can secure that M4, which is tantalizingly right in front of him. He just walks past it, though. Maybe not wanting to give away his position by dropping the weapon. Oh, this is interesting.
He's going straight for the bomb. He knows where Mixwell is, but Mixwell spotted him, but Mag 7 at close range. Oh no, he's going to land one more shot. Oh my goodness, Sean. So close.
He played that very well, though.
He did, but he just wasn't able to land enough of the pellets, and Misfits are now forced into a tree eco. And that's where you kind of go, sure, if Mixwell did fall in that situation, it'd still be a one-on-one, and Rush was on hot form. He was able to come through, drop, and get a few more headshot kills. He's going to be starting to feel quite confident as well. He's been their consistent performer for OpTic, and if he's now starting to hit his stride, it's scary thoughts for Misfits, who have been looking a little bit scary as Nap decides to go the Flying Eagle strategy, and it's working out perfectly well. 3 kills on the Mac 10.
Yep, cannot complain about that one at all, and Tarek closing out the final 2. OpTic just completely running over Misfits on that eco. They knew that Misfits were going to be able to only get some pistols in that round, so they've decided, yep, let's just go straight, balls to the walls, right down drop room, get the Mac 10s out, get the AKs out, and rush over the B-bomb site. Looks like we do have attack pause coming out here. I have to only assume it is Misfits, and there we go, confirmation. So it's basically about time. They really need to be getting some rounds on the board here. Looks like they have decided to buy into this round. Again, it's not going to be a great buy, really, for the CT side, because I think the most money that they had on one of those players was about 4.4k. So that's about an AK, a bit of armor, and a little bit of utility, assuming they don't buy head armor. But really, we're just going to be seeing some lackluster utility buys coming out from the CTs, and maybe even, you know, not all full rifles or anything like that.
And this is where I go back to the rounds where I go, look, Misfits shouldn't be forcing, because their victories need to come in the late game, not the early game. Early game, OpTic just deflect all the pressure. They slowly take map control. The only time they've lost it is where Shazam and Sean were able to make the A-site defense work, and you could argue maybe OpTic jumped the gun a little bit. You see Jason R trying to play through the edge of smoke, and well timed from Sean to get the kill, but just a few mistakes where you could have gone, look, OpTic just needs to wait behind the smoke, hang back, not give up an easy kill, and they would have been able to roll into the A-site.
Yeah, it could very well be 9-1 at this point. Admittedly, Misfits, they did look very, very convincing on the pistol round, so I have to give them that at least. But OpTic Gaming, for basically the rest of this half have been the superior team, and that's going to show. This scoreline is looking way, way better than they probably would have even hoped at this point. So should be able to turn this into a really, really good first half and even a really, really good first map.
That's how confident OpTic are right now. They're carrying 2 MAC-10s, which may be a bit of a slight misread, but at the same time could be used to counter off the AWP hold or maybe a rifle hold towards A, because they just barrel in.
It's not so bad because Misfits have only got 1 set of head armor here. And the MAC-10s, if they can get in close range, definitely can be effective. Shazam, not under too much pressure there, but he will have to back out just a little bit. Needs his backup from Sean as well. There's another smoke. Just to get a little bit more map control easier for OpTic.
Yeah, with the MAC-10s, they just push in really quickly. Now they hear the M4s, they can realize, okay, Misfits have forced into this round. Let's clear all our angles and lines. They can make a lot of noise, and Shazam through smoke! Jason R with a MAC-10 will be able to get the kill on towards Shazam. Well, Mixwell is tagged down towards 28 from the M4 from Sean, but it does force an over-rotation from Misfits and OpTic. They can just move back towards B site. They can still thread an A site as well, 55 seconds. The entire map is their playground, and now Misfits without the utility to hold off.
It's really just looking so easy for OpTic right now, isn't it? They are getting pretty much picks across the board. As you said, they've got that utility advantage. This is one last incendiary now for Twists. He's going to be throwing that over to A long, so really the actual push from OpTic is going to be happening over on the B bomb site, and there's nothing to hold Misfits off, or Misfits for them to hold off OpTic. Like, they've got flashbangs, and that's it. Relics under pressure now as well. Tarek, nice entry from him on the B site. Sick, the only one that they really have to deal with. There is a rotation coming around behind. Sean Garras, if he can come in and pick up that player on plat fairly easily, maybe there's a chance, but just across the board, it's not looking like that it's going to be any chance right now for Misfits. Sean, he does get the kill on the Mixwell, but he's the only one left alive by this point.
And 2 MAC-10s. That was a win on the back of 2 MAC-10s, which both pick up a kill apiece. And Naf decides to go, to go with the CZ, no problems there. And Jason R decides to pick up a UMP instead. They could just roll with the SMGs and still be quite comfortable. They have all the money they have that they want to play with in the late rounds of this half. And Misfits, this is where it starts becoming dire. Normally we see, okay, tactical boards, they can change matters around. Next round should be better for them because they can afford more utility. But even then, OpTic will be on double digits. They're firmly in the driver's seat, and they're not looking like they want to stop.
Yeah, even if Misfits would have closed this half out and get 6 on the board, it's really not looking like it's going to be enough at this point. But we'll see what they can do. Sean just trying to push out from A-Long. Hasn't really been able to do all that much, though. There we go. He does actually get a headshot onto Naf. So opening frag here for Misfits, and it is a retrievable gun. At this point, though, Misfits aren't aware of that. Admittedly, OpTic aren't going to be too bothered by that either, one would think. They should just be able to barrel over this B-bomb site relatively easily. We saw how easy it was for them in the last anti-eco round that they did have, and it could be very much a similar sort of a situation here in round number 12.
Tarek going to be leading, going to be the entry as Molotovs are going to be slowly used. Shazam dancing around the statue. There's Relics. Oh, he's going to spot out one just underneath him, but he won't spot out Shazam yet. There's a lot of members on the B side, but Mixwell's going to open up the party. Tarek joins him shortly afterwards. And Twist and Sick just waiting behind the smoke, but Rush just through the edge of the smoke just as it fades. It's off to Sean now, and he won't be able to get another kill. Doing damage, but can't get the final kill, and OpTic 10-2.
10-2 indeed. Misfits, well, they do get a bye here, but I have to question, like, how well are they going to be able to utilize it? Because it just doesn't seem like they're here at all on Cobblestone. It is really just the one-team show right now. OpTic running over everything. Good takeaway, at least for Misfits, is this round they do have pretty much full utility. So the round where they did have full utilities is the round that they won. Maybe they can repeat that here and start to maybe claw their way back into the first half.
Tarek's just going to spray down and make some nuisance towards B platform, which means that Misfits still don't have a good read of what is occurring, as OpTic are going to be making their way towards A site. There is going to be a missed shot from Sean, and trying to rotate in the middle of the open. Jason R is going to punish Shazam. Now with a lot of work is, well, he does have a teammate crossing over towards balcony, but Shazam cannot miss more shots, and he will be able to land the one on towards Jason R. Naf does not realize, okay, he does realize that there is one towards balcony, and Shazam doing work now. Much better. He's still alive, and can do work.
Mixwell responding with work of his own. He picks up 2 AWP shots as well. And Misfits, they're going to be struggling in this round once more. Another shot coming out from Mixwell, and he's really just opened things up here right now for OpTic. 3 kills in this round, and it's just Relics left alive. And he's only got, what, 2 rounds on the board? So he basically needs to get rounds here, but you can't retake 1 versus 3 with no utilities. Like, it just isn't going to happen. Especially with
Mixwell playing so well the AWP. Looks like Relics wants to take the AWP towards the next round, but if they can't force up a win, their only wins have been on the pistol. It was clean. We're like, oh, this is a good start for Misfits. And then afterwards, it was just, all right, looks like, oh, good shot from Relics, but it's too late.
He will get the AWP, though, and that was his intention, just by peeking around in that area. So, taking the AWP through, at least it's something here for Misfits. They will be able to scrounge together a buy. At this point, I think you have to be forcing into this round because they need every round on the board.
But once again, the recipe for success has not been on the force buys, and
no. Well, it wasn't in that round either, so.
Shazam tried his best. He got 2 AWP kills, but unfortunately, Misfits lost too many other members towards the A site, and there was just not a great defensive hold. You can see that Twist, normally you're looking at him to put up more numbers. Misfits have just once again just looked so stagnant. And OpTic, I wouldn't even say OpTic are playing insanely well. They're just coming in and doing their job.
Yep.
They're just playing good, solid Counter-Strike, and that's all they need right now.
Exactly, and if it's not broken, why fix it right now for OpTic? They are going to, again, make their way out by the looks of things onto the B-bomb site. Mixwell opening things up, gets the first kill onto Relics. And now Misfits just in the world of hurt, because again, every single kill that you see is going the way of
It just doesn't
OpTic.
die.
Yeah. Okay, Shazam finds 1, but like, too little too late. And he might even get taken down here by Mixwell. No, we'll see.
I was afraid Mixwell was going to die towards a friendly Molotov, and we'll take down Mixwell through the wall. Poor Mixwell. He did so well.
I think that was the caster curse right there.
Yeah, he doesn't die. Naf goes, not anymore. Watch this.
Well, look, it's not going to affect OpTic all that much. They are going to be able to afford a full buy next round anyway because of basically, what, they've got, I don't know, nine rounds in a row. Maybe not that much. Jason does take down Shazam as well, so really, really crucial kill. Misfits in this final round of the half. Yeah, they're not going to be able to have an AWP. They may get 1 M4. The rest of them are going to be on FAMASas or UMPs. Or the X7s, I suppose.
Even if Misfits take this round, it's not because OpTic... Or I would say that OpTic wouldn't even mind that much. They just go, oh, all right, Misfits take 1. Sure, 13-2 half would be amazing. Take the pistol, 2 anti-ecos, your job's done.
Yeah.
But I'd say that no matter how many rounds that Misfits do pick up, I'd say the result is going to be quite skewed towards the favor of OpTic regardless, as Mixwell looking just to push out by himself. Why not? He's done it so many times before. He's going to be blinded out, but he's still dancing around it. Tarek Rush charging forward, meets a deluge of defenders, and Mixwell needs to be cautious because Relics will push up. Finally, Misfits do pick up a round from stacking the B platform as well to Jason R on the 1 and 4.
I think things just got a little bit silly there for OpTic in that round. Like, that didn't seem to be really how they'd been playing the rest of that half. I mean, the bomb just jumping into the B site, like, you're not really taking things too seriously if that's going to be the case. Maybe it was a mistake, but regardless, it's not going to really affect OpTic all that much. Getting 12 on the T side, sorry, and moving over to their CT side now, you have to think this is going to be fairly easily wrapped up for them.
Hopefully. I mean, OpTic, we've seen teams drop the ball before. They go very confident and they go, yeah, we can take this quite easily. Let's just chill back, you know, start sipping on the coolers before the party or the job's done. And before you know it, Misfits, they get some confidence. They get momentum rolling behind them. They damage the CT economy. OpTic on the crucial round where they have to go for the buy, they lose it.
Potentially. But we'll have to see how this turns out, because when we did see OpTic up against Renegades on Cobblestone, they were able to close that out fairly easily, 16-5. Looks like we might be headed in the direction of a similar result. And for Misfits, on their own games on Cobblestone, they have really only been able to pick up a win actually over Rush. All the other times that they've played Cobble, they have lost, admittedly, fairly close to Team Liquid and fairly close to SK, but... Or not SK, sorry, fairly close to Luminosity, but it's still a loss, right? Yeah. And so I don't think that they're going to have enough here to be able to come back into this at all. I honestly think even if the pistol does go the way of Misfits, it's maybe going to be 16-5, 16-6, something like that. It's not going to be any more than, say, 16-8.
And I would also say that the close results were because of the fact that they were able to frag it up on the CT side. It just felt like on the CT defensive part, just everyone's just lackluster.
Yeah. It
was just they were playing Counter-Strike, but they weren't hitting the shots. Sometimes it does happen.
Yeah, look, I mean...
I'm not trying to make excuses, but it does happen in Counter-Strike.
Maybe it's just not their day, right? Which is fair enough. And we did say if one of these two teams showed up and the other doesn't, then it could be a potentially pretty easy time. At the moment, OpTic is definitely the one showing up. So we'll see whether or not they're going to show up in the pistol round here. Maybe not too much longer left in this first map, but I guess that comes down to this round. And OpTic going to be hoping that they're going to have a bit of a better time than they did in the first half pistol, because they didn't even get a single kill in that one.
The idea of the USP is the HE grenade. Whoa, what an HE grenade, doing a lot of damage towards Tarek as well as Mixwell. And this makes Misfits' job easier. There's the first headshot. Tarek still wanting to contest the B platform area. He's down towards 12 HP, but he's still alive with a couple of crisp one-taps. Could be able to change it around, but Misfits decide to back off. They decide it's not worth it, and OpTic are going to have to settle slowly towards a 2-2 defensive play. Going to be Jason R anchoring towards A. No kit for them to play with either.
No, so they really don't want to allow the bomb to go down here for Misfits. They need to be hitting those shots. Rush just playing in the connector. He needs to get over on that A-bomb site. Smoke comes out onto long. Smoke is well into the connector. Great shot, though, from Rush. Just peeking out of it. Jason R doing a little bit of damage as well, but nothing too amazing just yet. But it's enough to slow Misfits down. Rush has gotten himself down below the balcony, and he's being able to help out his teammate. Jason R hitting some headshots. He gets two eventually after tapping away, and there's a third as well. So just a very, very easy cleanup on the pistol from OpTic, really off the back of individual players, like Rush getting that nice shot as he peeked out of the smoke, slowed down Misfits enough, gave Jason R a little bit of extra time to be tapping away, doing a bit of damage, and then when they did finally challenge him actually in close range, he was just proving to be good enough to deal with that. And
great composure from Jason R. It's very easy in a situation where you're panicking, you see a lot of T's, just to try to click mouse one as fast as you can, but you see it's just tapping, trying to aim, and he was eventually rewarded with the headshots. Yeah, 3 headshots in a row, which means that OpTic will pick up the pistol round and Misfits. They will go on the force buy. Now, they will be able to drop very quickly in towards drop room, and Mixwell, they actually just let the ball drop completely, and Naf is trying his best to try to hold on, and he does answer favorably well. Yeah, the bomb did get dropped there as well, so not too big of a deal for Misfits as they're able to retrieve it quite quickly, but Naf has really done a large amount of work. Jason R anchoring over to the A-bomb side of the map, and he's not got too much work to do now. Seeing as his teammates over on B were able to get a few kills in that connector, and Sick, the only one left alive here. It's 2 versus 1. Naf comes flying in once again with their UMP this time as opposed to the MAC-10, but a pretty decent round actually out of OpTic. Yes, they lose 3 guns, but at this point, given the difference in rounds, losing guns is not too big of a deal right now for OpTic. Misfits should be on the eco next round. And it should be 15 on the board for OpTic. Well, I guess they can't really eco us. I'd say Misfits will force up.
But, like, you know what I mean, right? The buy is not going to be amazing. It's going to be leaving a little bit to be desired.
It looks scary because Sick was able to come straight forward and get 2 very quick kills on towards the B door players.
I don't think that OpTic is going to be caught napping like that again, though.
No. They'll let the ball drop once and they'll go, all right, serious faces on, guys. And Naf was able to respond accordingly, just finding the off timing, as now Jason R looking to get aggressive, and he does spot out Shazam, so he decides to back off and use the smoke. He doesn't really have anyone, so he can't lose his life just wastefully.
No, definitely not. He needs to be a little bit careful over there, but at the moment he's not really being pressured at all by Misfits, so for him to be isolated, it's not such a big deal right now for OpTic. In saying that though, Twist actually does take him down through the doors, and so that is a retrievable gun for Misfits, though they've decided they're not too interested in it. You can see, obviously, Mixwell has started to push forward here just to make sure that Misfits aren't able to take that gun. But what that does is it causes another rotation from OpTic to take Naf over to the A-bomb site. Now only 2 players on the B site. This is actually looking okay for Misfits, as long as they can take down Tarek, which apparently they can't. He finds 2. They've gone and lined up for him, and he might even get 4 here. He just needs to reload that gun. On 9 HP, though, it's a difficult task for him, and he does have the rotation coming across from his teammates, but he's done more than enough.
Yeah, and Misfits just dancing around trying to draw out Tarek, but Rush has come to just reinforce his teammate, and we'll be able to clean up with 2 kills on the UMP. Good hold coming out from Tarek with the pressure on B plat. Very easy just to collapse and surrender your life, but he sells it very well, getting 3 for 1. And OpTic now on match point. 15-3, a dominating T-side performance now being backed up on a solid CT side.
Yeah,
I won't say it was dominating CT because I don't think Misfits really had the time to work with. Just not enough buffering space for the rounds.
Yep. But we'll see how this one goes. This is the important one really for Misfits. At least they can maybe show us that they've got something on that T side. They have pretty much everything that they need. I guess the exception is that they don't have an AWP on Shazam, but 5 rifles, definitely good enough here for Misfits if they are themselves good enough. Pop flash coming out through the smoke. Not going to affect Misfits all that much, as we do see OpTic just falling back into the bomb site just a little bit, or more specifically Mixwell falling back in the bomb site a little bit. Jason are still pushing long. It's again something that maybe Misfits can take advantage of if they do recognize that, but once more, they are more interested in the B-bomb site, which so far has proved to be their kryptonite, really, because they haven't got anything done. Naf does go down, though, but a lot of damage over to those Misfits players. Yeah,
Sean on 1 HP, Sick on 22, and Shazam on 53. Just a single Molotov tick will take down Sean, and Sick, if he's blinded out, could stand a little bit too long, and will just be nicely roasted. OpTic still stacking a lot of forces towards B-plat, and there's a flashbang to allow another push behind it. There's Mixwell throwing a Molotov to just deny the area.
Yep, decent utility use from OpTic right now, but they have pretty much used almost all of their utilities. Just an incendiary and a smoke and a flash left, and Mixwell, he gets two, might even find a third here. Sick does peek into his line, and overall a 3-for-2 trade. That's favourable for OpTic. They get it back to a 2 versus 2. 30 seconds on the clock for Misfits. Now only one player left alive for them. It's Twists in a 1v1 up against Jason R. And he has so much work to do.
Yeah, Twist just ducking back on the B-plat, but he will go for the plant inside the smoke, and Jason R, will he go for the spray? He doesn't find the shot on towards Twist, only doing some damage, and now the head's been spotted out. What a flick, though! Whoa!
I was going to say, he's only got 4 bullets here, so he might want to reload, but doesn't even need that. Just gets the one-shot headshot, and he has a bit of a celebration here as well before he defuses the bomb. But
that was a pretty huge shot.
That is going to be that, really, for OpTic, and that's exactly what you want to see coming out from them. 16-3 over Misfits. We did question how close this match was going to be at the start, and I thought it was going to be reasonably close, but
we were wrong.
OpTic have come out today and really said, you know what, we're here to play. We're here to show that we do deserve to be a team that's higher placed than 7th.
Once again, though, I wanted to say that Misfits, it just feels like they haven't played towards the standards that we hold them towards. Where we saw on Cobblestone, they should be able to take a closer fight. The CT side just, I don't know, stagnant, not very impressive. I'm trying to find words that don't really blast them, but it was just a very poor CT performance, and there's no easy way of saying that.
The aim wasn't really working for them, was it either? They were just allowed the Ts just to run into the bomb site. Even like on the ecos, it was so much easier for OpTic, of course, but even on the gun rounds, we saw it was very easy for OpTic. They were walking in, they were getting shots, and they didn't seem to be getting challenged at all. So I think that was a very good performance from OpTic. Maybe they're going to